Hi everybody, thanks for coming to this quick Cortex demo video. I'm Leo Kish, I'm the co-founder and CEO of YouBase, the maker of Cortex. And this is going to be the first video and a general overview video of the Cortex application, and then we'll dive a little bit deeper into some of the features in a future video. There'll probably be 6 or 7 of these to start, but let's get started. First, take a look around. When you first come into Cortex, you'll see a page like this, but it'll be empty. And you'll go down here to create a new cluster. I'll show that in another video. But the basic idea is that each cluster is like a file structure or a folder where you hold your notes. But it's also an address and a hierarchical deterministic wallet, which means that within each cluster, every note has a key pair and a relation to other key pairs in the notes. And I'll explain why that's important a little bit later, but the important thing is that every note has a cryptographic key pair that's associated with it. And that opens up a whole lot of new opportunities. So let's go to the Hello World cluster, and this is the home top level note. The first thing you'll notice is that this is in Markdown, which is like a light version of HTML, which just about anybody can use to create nice looking web pages and documents. So if you know just a couple of basic commands like the hash creates a title, and there's some syntax around creating links and creating bulleted list where you just use the star key. But it's very easy. There's probably 18 commands that you can use, and if you're interested, there's a Markdown guide here, and I'll put that in the comments below. Use this button on the bottom left to go back to the main page. And let's talk a little bit about what makes Cortex unique. As I mentioned, there's cryptographic keys that are associated with each note or each node in the HD wallet that is linked to a backend data store that can live just about anywhere. The default is going to be IPFS, and in this demo video, things are stored locally, but in the next few weeks, we'll have a demo running on IPFS that I'll also put on this channel. And this is going to open up a lot of new use cases where you can control access to the notes. You can publish the notes and prove that they were yours. You'll be able to create NFTs out of the notes, and you'll also be able to hold NFTs and other kind of tokens associated with the notes. You could get paid for the content that you create, or you can ensure that only people maybe with a certain token have access. A lot of different things that you're going to be able to use. And we really think that this is going to help drive crypto use cases into more mainstream that makes the internet just a lot more usable in some unique ways. The next really important part of this is that while each of these is key, each of the pages are keys, they also have an address. So a good example of this is if we go to the kind of calendar, the daily note button, you'll see today, 2021, June 7th. And this is a path within the HD wallet, but it's also an address. And behind that, a unique key is derived for that, for this particular cluster and this particular note. And we'll eventually be able to use that as a kind of like the file structure in a web page. So you can, if you think of the stuff after the slash, like the .com/home, /team or .team, you'll see an address something like this. So any web page can have a kind of emerges as a context in a crypto space as well as the traditional web space. We'll just go back to the home note. The other unique aspect of this and about the clusters is that they'll have channels to determine how they're shared. So you could have a group channel for people on your team. You could have a private channel between you and one other person. You can have a public channel so that everything that you put within that channel is published. And there's going to be some unique ways also in how you can kind of transfer ownership around those channels that I think is going to be really interesting, that I'll also show in another video. In future versions, we have a state machine that's running on the back end so that each note that you create has a timestamp that can be coded against. So you can say create a different page that's going to display at that address for every day of the week or for some date in the future. There's going to be a lot of different ways that you can both prove when something was created, prove what the version was, be able to fork the version, do a lot of different things. You can think of everything that we do kind of in Cortex as having a tree structure to it. And we'll go into that in a later video as well. As I mentioned, there's a flexible backend. The default will be IPFS, but neither Cortex nor anybody else will have access to the contents of the note without your permission, and will not know that they are yours without your permission. So it becomes a really complete and new privacy and security aspect to note taking. So none of these notes can be used without your permission to target you for advertisements, as some note-taking applications do. All these notes are really yours, and you control where they're stored on the back end. Finally, the addresses can be published and will have availability to a decentralized name service, decentralized DNS, but also to the legacy DNS, so the traditional web where you can publish any of these pages. So at the end of the day, what this means is that Cortex is a complete content creation, navigation, and eventually searching tool for a completely decentralized internet. And we're really excited about it. So it really, the final point is that allows for creation and consumption in a decentralized web, or Web3, or what we're calling the authentic internet. Authentic in that there's an owner and a time that's provable about everything that's created, if you choose to prove it. There's a couple other things here that just give you a little preview. If you look at the legacy website address, Bob Smith, using the butterfly protocol DNS, you'll be able to go to an address that looks like this, web plus butterfly ://bobsmith.nft. And at that address, you'll be able to see Bob's decentralized website with decentralized DNS. If you go to the Butterfly Protocol website, and we'll include the link below here, we'll show you how to enable your browser with this capability. And this is what the address looks like inside a cluster. But eventually, if you move this to after the slash, or after the Bob Smith NFT, that becomes where Bob Smith can publish his Today notes. And it'll be really, really simple to have both an identity within Web3 and the decentralized authentic internet to do a whole lot of new things that we'll show in future videos. So thanks, and we'll see you in the next one.